Hello everyone. It's James again. And before I start today's important video, I just want to quickly say, all work in this video contains 100% original content of and by myself James Smith, otherwise known as Bgood 4000, and was uniquely created with NAWMAL software, by myself James Smith. As I purchased commercial rights from NAWMAL to produce my unique and original video with this software. Commentary is uniquely my own thoughts, feelings, and expressions. Now that I have that out of the way, I do hope your day is going way better than fantastic. And your journey to self-betterment is going way better than fantastic as well. Today I want to talk about something super important, and it's a story we've been looking at for the past couple of weeks. But something has been telling me to follow the story to see what develops and what is happening. And when I learned of the latest information, it is exactly what I've been telling you for the last 14 years. And yes, we are going to talk about differences. Societal differences between male and female narcissists in this one. As it's important to the story and it's important to the victim of this case. The young son of this monster mother. Yulia Storazik. And this story needs to be followed and followed and followed. And this is what I intend to do. And in this video, there is a plea I will give for help for this young boy. Because he will need assistance every step of the way growing up, so he does not repeat this sick and horrible cycle of neglect, of abuse, and what the damaging effects of growing up without love can do to an individual. In this case, a young boy. A young boy that will one day grow up to become a young man. And this is important. And we are going to dive into this because it's very important. And it's a topic most people don't want you to talk about. Simply because the sisterhood says, even if there is a clear and distinct difference between how the female narcissist is treated versus the male narcissists, especially in Western societies, if you talk about it, you must be shamed, mocked, and shouted down into silence. So nothing can ever change. Because make no mistake about it, those that shout down people for speaking such truth don't care about the abuse of a young boy like this woman's son. Because if you were to talk to some of these women, I bet you dollars to donuts they would blame it on toxic masculinity. Because they know if an honest conversation were to be had, it would reveal the truth. And the truth is that male and female narcissists are the same. They have the same abilities for abuse, both emotional and physical. And because the mother has been raised up in our society as a figure that can do no wrong and gets custody most of the time, these types that love to shout down anyone that wants to truly help, they know that many of these mothers are terrible. And they know by their terrible actions that terrible men might be created as a result. And when these terrible men are created and act out in society, they know no one will care about how they were created. And that allows them to point the finger and say, see, I told you. Men are horrible individuals and toxic masculinity is the problem. When in reality the problem might have been all along a mother that never loved their son. A mother that beat their son for no reason at all. A mother that treated their son as a burden. Oh, and the thing I talked about and have been talking about for the last 14 years is that if you removed all of these programs that allows a great many of these mothers to get free this and free that, and to no longer be seen as the default best parent, and they had to pay their fair share of child care. And if this isn't you, please don't be offended. We are talking about narcissist mothers here. But if this scenario were to be the case, you would see mothers in droves. Droves dropping their children off in the middle of the street and abandoning them. Well, guess what? Yulia, who has been in the US for a year, as she was fleeing the Ukraine war. And as we talked about before, we don't know. Is the father a good man or a bad man? We don't know. But what we do know is there is a good chance the husband is back in Ukraine ducking and dodging enemy attacks while this woman is living in sunny Miami, Florida beating her son. And I believe she has a pretty good job as well. I believe she's a high-end flight attendant for VIP customers. So she earns a pretty good living, especially for someone that is new to the US. Well, guess what? The same day. And it's hard to say if this happened before or after she beat her son. But the same day she contacted the police and said she was having a mental breakdown and wanted to leave her son with the police because she couldn't take the stress and she couldn't deal with her financial issues. Now here's the thing. Again, most flight attendants make a pretty decent to good living. But in the VIP areas and flights they can do pretty well for themselves. But here's the problem. And this is one thing I've been talking about more recently. Look. Here's the facts for you good women on this channel. 80 to 90% of the men out there in the world, no matter if they are as handsome as a model or if they are as non-attractive as a troll, if they aren't rich, meaning they can't take their girlfriend shopping at the Gucci store, and to expensive trips, these men are deemed worthless and not desirable. And most women, maybe not you, but most women are going for these top-earning, likely openly narcissist men, just so they can have the shopping and the trips. Well, I don't think Yulia's financial problems were what one might think. She has a pretty good job. What's the problem? The problem is she might have had bigger expectations coming to the US. That there would be rich men everywhere wanting to take her shopping and on trips and that would want to take care of her son. Now Yulia is a pretty woman. And I'm sure there were several men that wanted to date her. But most of them, though possibly attractive themselves and kind. Probably kind to her and kind to her son. They probably, though they had a stable job, could not afford to do all of the things Yulia wanted to do. Because she wanted one of these so-called high-value narcissists. She seen her son likely as the main reason why she was unable to keep long-term one of these men. Not that these men she was likely dating, and I have no doubts while the boyfriend or husband is in Ukraine was entertaining some of these so-called high-value men. The problem was and is, most of these men just want to have their fun and run, regardless if there is a son in the picture or not. Most of these men are not husband or boyfriend material. They have no love, no care, no nothing. But in Yulia's lizard brain, likely she was thinking and trying to figure out how to get one of these men to take her seriously. And she likely started to blame her son as the reason why she couldn't lock down any of these men in Miami that have these fancy boats and that have that jet-set lifestyle, where she could stop working and she could just shop every day for all the high-end fashion she wanted. Now even if she ended up with such a man, the child would still be abused. Because the goalpost always moves with these evil people. She would find something to blame her son for at some point. And she would kick him and throw him around regardless. And what's interesting and sad really, is her beating her son in the hallway of her apartment. It happened twice in the same night. Both situations caught on camera. Now again, did she call the police after maybe she was tipped off that she was caught on camera? So maybe she could do some damage control and say she needed help. And try to get some sympathy because she knew trouble was around the corner. Or did she call earlier before the trouble happened? Simply because she was so mad she couldn't have her fun in Miami with these so-called high-value men, all because her son, in her lizard mind, was holding her back and causing her problems. And just like I've said, and I've said it for 14 years, you would see millions, and I do mean millions, of women abandoning their children. Children they so-called love. In my mother's words, I would walk through the fires of hell for my children. But for those of you that know my story, my mother tossed me out of the house the minute all of the finances were gone that she was getting from one program and another for me being alive. No education. No nothing. Get out of the house. Because you are going to mess up my money, is what I heard. From the woman that told everyone that she would walk through the fires of hell for her children. How much you want to bet? Upon entry to the United States, that Yulia played up being the scared victim and a loving mother just trying to do her best, and she wants the American dream for her son. But what she really meant to say was, she is in Miami to get a high-value man at all cost, and if her child gets in her way, she will toss him to the side. Look. This young boy needs help. Not just today but for a long time. Because though it's not a slam dunk he will grow up to be an abuser or worse. Or a people pleaser abusers walk all over. But the chances are there. Ladies, that man that you met and that abused you. Sadly. It's a very good chance he had a mother just like Yulia. And all of these women preventing people from honestly talking about it are aiding and abetting in the abuse of these young boys that might grow up to one day abuse you. Well, that's all I have for today. I appreciate your support. And if you would like to support even further, you can find a link below where you can do so. And if you are unable to do so, just you being here is enough. With that said, I do hope your day is blessed. And until next time, bye for now. And be good to yourself.